Hello YouTube, hello Bleach fans, this is the Observer, this is the chapter review, Bleach 532, Everything But Rain, Part 5. The chapter starts with Aizen explaining why Ishin haven't noticed him. He explains that he wears the Ratsu isolation cloak which Urahara Kisuke wear in Turn Back the Pendulum when he slashed Aizen from behind in that arc. As what I have noticed is when he said that's the parting gift Urahara left in Soul Society, is that I believe that's what Urahara have actually left in society when he escaped. He didn't carry that with him in in real world, so therefore I don't know. Aizen just found it and picked it up, and it continues. Well, he says, well, we have done what we need to do here. We're leaving now. And if our Hollow got defeated by a captain level Shinigami with just his Shikai, well, the experiment was a failure. Where Kaname, says, don't call him an experiment. We have decided to call him White. And where Aizen, as the great narrator in this chapter, says, oh yeah, right, not an experiment. Even though his body is completely black, his armor is completely black, well, there is whiteness inside of him. This is the first Hollow we created based on the soul of Shinigami, and therefore that's whiteness, that's why we call him White. And the chapter actually go to the Ishin and this mysterious Hollow fighting. Nothing new there, they're fighting. It seems as on Ishin's side that's a very hard battle, that he's tired, he is using everything, and now with that wound he can't even use his Bankai. I mean, because Aizen have stated that with that wound the Bankai will be too heavy on his body, he won't be using it. But well, I will talk about it later. And this is the first time we actually see Ishin pissed off. He says, don't underestimate me, you little shit. Puff! Cutting the Hollow's arm, and but that weren't enough to defeat the Hollow. Hollow still aggressively attacks Ishin, and then Masaki appears, yay! And Masaki, shoots an arrow, and when Hollow notices her, he jumps right at her, and she noticed, he's too fast, I can't hit him with my arrows. He decides on a different tactic. She decides to, let Hollow bite her or attack her. And when the Hollow is too close, that she grabs him and uses her arrow or any other technique, we don't know, and poof, destroy Hollow's armor. I don't believe she destroys Hollow's head, but I can see the pieces flying from the Hollow. I believe it's just an armor. Maybe now we'll see, but beneath that black armor we'll see, and poof, she destroys it, and that's where the chapter ends. And that's about it, in very short lines, so let's continue with the chapter analysis. Well, when the previous chapter ended, I always thought, now there's gonna be a battle between Ishin and Aizen, because Ishin slashed him from behind. Three things I thought: there's gonna be a battle, or he's going to trick, Ishin into doing something that will leave him powerless and left in the real world, or, Aizen will just come and say, this is my Hollow, I'm picking him up, we are going to Soul Society. And actually none of that happened, because Ishin haven't noticed who slashed him. And that's the best thing Aizen have done, really. That's the best of all these options. Why? Because, this way he's managed to deal damage to his opponent, and yet, even though if Ishin somehow managed to survive, to live, he won't be able to say who actually was the one who was, behind this Hollow. But it was really, really great. Something else, when Masaki appeared, regarding Aizen, when Masaki appeared, and fired an arrow at the Hollow, his eyes of an excitement were, priceless. He has seen a being that's supposed to be extinct by, the Soul Society and Shinigami's are taking the Queens are extinct, saving Ishin. What he has thought in his mind is now, oh my god, new beings, new species to experiment upon, new information, new knowledge, new stuff to create, to transform, to merge, to manipulate. Fucking great, yes. And his eyes is really priceless when he stops, you know, stop Kaname, don't kill him. Let's see what will happen. You know, that's Aizen to us. And Aizen also was a narrator in this chapter, telling us what this hollow actually was. Not who it is, but what this hollow was. And that was great. Ishin, as Ishin, the most interesting stuff about him in this chapter, this is the first time ever since the beginning of Bleach that we have seen him mad, pissed off. You know, when he was, you know, slashed, his arm got slashed and he was trying to defend from the attack. He said, "Don't underestimate me, you little shit." And he's like firing something, which is probably his ability from his Bankai, which is another interesting stuff that I want to notice about. Well, we have seen now that he's, well, I thought it was a Shikai in the previous review, but it seems to be a Bankai, that Engetsu is a Bankai burn. And it seems to me, when I have seen how Kub have drawn it, that it's a flame type Bankai, and which is interesting a lot, because I haven't noticed when he used Engetsu against Aizen in Dayside arc. It seems to be more like Ichigo's type Zangetsu. You know, it wasn't, you know, this Engetsu is completely different than Zangetsu, I mean, that Ichigo uses. And I am not even certain it's really a flame type Bankai, because, you know, Kubo's art with explosions and slashes are pretty chaotic, and we can't see really what's happening there. And, you know, that's different, you know. It's quite different to me from the day side, but maybe I'm wrong, who knows. And now the last thing, the last thing, no, not the last thing, the Masaki. And, you know, she appeared, you know, like schoolgirl with an arrows, completely, you know, shonen jump dream. A fetish, completely fetish shonen jump dream. And she looked pretty, yeah, you know, firing the arrows. But she's brave, she's bold and brave, which is great, you know. And then she does something completely unexpected. She allows damage on her body. You know, when the Ryuken said, you know, we are the pure quincies, there is no need for our blood to be spilled for nonsenses. You know, Masaki does completely the opposite. To stop this hollow, she allows him to attack her, to spill her blood, and it's a little bit immature what she has done. She couldn't know what the hollow will do, if the hollow will cut her in half, who knows. But what she does was a completely badass. I mean completely badass. She allowed Hollow to reach her very close, that the arrow, you know, can't miss. She can't miss from this distance. And uses her arrows, or it might be some other technique, Quincy, it doesn't really matter. And fire him from that distance, from this distance. And that was completely badass from Masaki. I didn't expect that. I really didn't expect that, and that's awesome, Masaki. Good work. And we'll see what will happen next. I don't believe they defeated the Hollow that easily, but now together they have a strong chance to drive him off. The last thing I want to talk about this chapter, in this chapter analysis, is the Hollow himself. Well, we have now noticed this is the first ever Hollow that's based on the soul side, the Shinigami soul, and the first thing that felt on my mind, was that the soul in which this, you know, this Hollow was created was Kain Shiba. Why Kain Shiba? Well, we know that the Hollow that killed Kain Shiba in manga was actually Aizen's Hollow. I mean, Aizen created this, one of his experimental Hollows, and that he has stolen, you know, Kain's sword, and later Kain's body and soul. I mean, it's you know, not quite well explained. And could be that, you know, somehow the data was stored to Aizen, that he somehow stored the data and from him he created this new Hollow. It could be, but I don't know, does it really fits in the timeline, because we actually don't know exactly in timeline where is this with Aizen. And it could be Kai and Shiba, and that will be really interesting stuff to say. We have already noticed that Ichigo looks a lot like Kain, and we have all guessed it because they're both Shiba. I mean, Kain was Shiba, and Ichigo has the father, who is Shiba, of course, the Ishin, who is Shiba. But it could be something more, you know. It could be that the reason why they so much look alike is, you know, somehow this new hollow, this new soul was built from the Kain Shiba soul. It could be. It's a wild theory. I have really nothing to give you proof, but it would be interesting to see what actually, from whose soul they have used to, you know, create this new Shinigami, this new hollow. And what else I want to say is that I expected Ryuken to come. I expected Ryuken to come, and you know, we have never seen Ryuken in fight. Yes, we have seen just tiny shooting arrows against hollows when he saved Uryu's life, but we haven't seen him actually fight. So I expected Ryuken to come and fight, but well, that won't happen. But what's interesting about that is it seems that these Quincy's are strong, are really strong. When they are given the proper training, this holy training, they can become really strong. I mean really strong. Masaki, well, we know that this hollow that Masaki have just shoot an arrow was strong, and Masaki destroyed his entire armor just with one arrow, you know. Even though it's close, it's just one arrow, and it really gives me a sense that when these Quincy's are given the proper training, they can become really strong, really strong. And it always seems to me, because before this final arc, before the 1000 Years Blood War, the only Quincy's we have seen were, you know, Uryu and Ryuken. We haven't seen Ryuken's strength, but we have seen Uryu fight, and he was, you know, he wasn't that strong. I mean, he was slashed with the Ginjo with just one shot. He was one-shotted by Ginjo, I mean. And he haven't really shined, never. He's a good character. I actually really much like Uryu as character. But strength-wise, he was always mediocre. You know, he was very much like, you know, the other human companions, Ichigo's companions. And it seems to me, if somehow someone is supposed to teach Uryu the holy training, would it be Ryuken, would it be Vandenreich, we could have got a really strong new character that could really help Ichigo a lot. I mean, Uryu was never taught by anyone. Yes, Soken little bit taught him the basics of Quincy's, the basics of Quincy techniques, but after that, no one really taught him anything. So it could be interesting, you know. And when Kirge Oppi have said, you know, oh, Uryu's arrows are weak, what the fuck? It actually might be this, that when he received the full-fledged holy training, that he might become really strong Quincy, especially that he's pure-blooded. It seems that those pure-blooded Quincy's are really strong, and that could be really interesting. And that's actually interesting is how Ryuken strong is. Is Ryuken stronger than the Ishin, or equally strong as Ishin? If that's true, then Ryuken is really powerful, and he seems to be a very intelligent fighter, because Ishin seems to be more of a grunt. You know, he's not stupid. He's smart. We have seen that he has a great deduction skills, but Ryuken seems more cunning fighter. You know, the one who actually thoughts about lots of strategies before he fight. And who knows? I can't wait to see. That's about it. There is nothing more for me to say in this chapter, you know. And that's it. Yeah, and one thing more. I have no idea how I'll call this chapter. I'm probably gonna call him something regarding the, you know, kamikaze attack that Masaki performed on that hollow. But regarding the two previous titles I have called my previous reviews, the Harmony of Black and White and Stray Heart, I just want to a little bit explain, because I haven't explained that in previous reviews. The first ever my review was the Bleach 530 Everything But Rain Part 3. And I've called it the Harmony of Black and White. Why? Well, at the beginning, when Ishin arrives in real world, when he fights at Hollow, there is just black. I mean, they are, if we call Shinigamis black, they're not black, but they wear black robes, and I just decided to call them black. They're not. This is not color important. The opposite color is just that's different. So there is just that, the black world, the Shinigamis fighting Hollows, yada yada. And yet again we have another world. We have Nishida Mansion. We have all those Quincy's that we thought extinct, living in harmony of their own pure race, you know. And they really rarely go to save, you know, Shinigamis who are ready to kill Hollows. But there is that harmony of black and white. They are like this. They exist, but they don't interfere in each other's meddling affairs. But everything will change. The harmony will be broken. She wants to help this. She wants to help this, you know, Soul Reaper. She completely destroyed balance. She entered into affairs of the black side, black party. The white have completely morphed into black. And what will happen from that? What will happen from that? Something completely new will be born from that all. You know, some new colors, some new stuff, some completely new will be born by, you know, completely destroying that harmony. And you know, and we all know that new will be Ichigo, that new stuff, the very special being Ichigo. You know, that's why I called the previous title Harmony of Black and White. The Stray Heart was, well, this is easy. There is not much philosophy regarding this. Stray Heart is actually Masaki, you know. Even though she's Quincy, even though she's pure-blooded, she stays behind. She wants to help. She wants to go on a battle. She actually doesn't want to be like every other Quincy. She wants to help. She wants to stray from the pack, and that's why I call the Stray Heart the previous chapter. You know, that's why nothing special there. But Masaki is definitely Stray Heart, and this new I don't know how I'll call it yet. Well, I usually thought about title when I'm uploading it on a YouTube, but it's gonna be something with, you know, heroic character that Masaki have pulled with the kamikaze attack. That was that. Thank you for watching. See you next week. Goodbye.